Hello everybody, welcome again to Future Finance KHF. Today we're gonna go again over the way or the process of picking up your stock, the ones that you are going to be interested in, and the one that you're gonna be looking at to investigate further to see if they are worth your time and if you are going to be investing in these stocks or not. So I just want to make a recommendation. The one website that it's very useful resources to be able to find your stocks is Finviz.com. You can use it to find any stock you want. It has a great features, great way of sorting your search, so you can pick the best you want. Based on our concept, our theory, our strategy, the boundaries that we set, so we're gonna now execute the way we search for the stocks on Finviz.com, like you see it on the top of the page, and this is a name just so you can see it bigger. So there is a row right here, the one underneath the Finviz.com. You see home, news, screener, and so on. So we are going to click on screener, so we can get all this stock that is listed in this list right here. It shows you the name of the company, the codes on the far left, and then the sector, industry, country, market cap, and so on. What interested to us is the volume of this stock, so we can pick the ones that we're gonna be interested in, and we're gonna say why the volume and also the price range, because we are short investors. We look for stocks below $2. That doesn't mean all this other stuff is not important. It's very important, but when you become an advanced investor, you can learn how to use more of these features in order for you to pick or to narrow your search to the best ones that you wanna be investigating or looking up further in their financial statements to decide whether it's worth it to invest in these stocks or not. Okay, so the first thing we want to do, like we said, here in the middle you have all kind of things to narrow your search. So we're gonna pick the ones that under $2. Okay, now everything here is gonna be under $2. If you look at the bottom of the page, there is like tens of pages right there of stocks that really worth your time. You can find a lot of these stocks that is very profitable, and it's good to look at and invest in them. But the second way of narrowing our search is the volume. We want to pick a stock that has on average a million volume a day. That tells, if it has a million volume a day, that tells us that this stock is an active stock, and that's what we're looking for. Now that doesn't mean this stock is good or bad. It's just saying that it is an active stock. Now it might not be volatile, it might be volatile, and that's another thing that we are going to be interested in, because we want a stock that we expect to go up in a short time. We're gonna learn more technique later on how to figure out the trend of the stocks, and that comes in another video. But here we're gonna focus about picking a stock, reading their financial statements, and make a recommendation. Okay, so if you click on the volume right here, it's gonna list these stocks from the lowest to the highest. We want the highest to lowest. Here we go. Now we have them highest to lowest, and it goes up to whatever number of pages that they are in there. Okay, so let's just randomly pick any stock we want. Let's say we want to pick a stock in the healthcare right here. There's a medical instrument and supplies. This stock, it's called ISR. Okay, so let's try this one. It has, so far, the last trade was 20 million. Right here it shows 20 million was traded the last day the market was open, which is last Friday. Today, Monday, is going to be open again, so we'll see how that is going to look like, maybe tomorrow or in the other video. But right now, it has a high volume. That means this stock is very active. Let's dig a little bit further and see what's up with this stock. So the code is ISR. The second page that we look we use to investigate more about the stocks, it's called marketwatch.com. Okay, you see it right on the top of the page. It's marketwatch.com. On the far right side, there is a button that you click to search for the stocks. So this one was ISR, right? ISR. So we click it like this and we do ISR. Let's search for the stock. Okay. We see it right here today. It is 145. It's up 5 cents. It's trending up. We're gonna see more about it. So when you start investigating about a stock, okay, what you do, there is a few indications. It tells you if you need to dig further and find out more about it, or you just want to just drop it and move on to another stock that you might be better and worth more of your time. Okay, the one indication is the very important one. First, we said let's look at the average volume is 6 million. That's really above average, so it's really nice. 6 million, that means this stock is active. It's not yet volatile, but it is active, and it's not good or bad, it's just active. 52 weeks, the lowest 35 cents, the highest $2. Right now it's 145. So if it is the highest within 1 year, it's $2. So now we're right on the edge. So it might really, there is not enough room for it to go up, but we can give it a little bit more of time to see if this is if there is a chance for this one to go much higher than $2 in a very short time. And it was low 35 cents, so that means it picked up to 143. So it went back to an acceptable price, but we still don't know how likely this stock to keep moving up and in what time period is going to do that, because that is important for us since we are a short-term investors. Okay, so let's look at the graph. So before reading the financial statement, because we want to know if we should keep going looking more into these stocks or not. So let's look at the graph. So here we look at the 5 days range. Okay, 5 days before was 53 cents, and now it is went up to 160, 170. Okay, that's a very interesting finding. That's a very interesting thing, because it had been before that day, it had been steady 51 on a 50 cent, and then on that day on 1/6, just 5 days ago, it went up in 1 day from 50 cents to almost hit the $2. You can see like right here, went 192. And then it fell down to 139, and then it moved 129, and then went up to 145. That's very nice. So this stock so far, it looks like there is something going on for it to jump from 50 cents to 149. Let's say we don't want to see because we know within a year it was only around $2. Okay, so let's say before that, when did it fall, or when was it much more than $2? You see, the thing with the graph here is not showing like 3 years. Those graphs, sometimes when you go back with time, it doesn't really reflect what had been going on with this stock before. You can't really count on this graph 100%. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. Most likely within a year they can be more accurate, but when it comes more than 1 year, then that's where they got pretty tricky. Okay, so let's see, since the graph, it's not something we can count on it on this one. Let's see if there is any news. Maybe this jump was some kind of see if there is any news about it, because this jump could be a split reverse. If it's not split reverse, right here, let's see if anything like that happened. No, Why little known is that it's surging 200% today. Okay, so it surged 200%. There was no split reverse, so which is good. But historically, it doesn't show how much it was before that. So 1 year, even the 1 year indication graph is not pretty accurate. It's supposed to be $2, and here is not showing. In February 2020 was 93 cents. So the graph is not accurate. Let's look at the financial statement. Let's look, see if that is something we can be interested in. Even though so far, because of the fact that the highest it was within a year is $2, and right now it's at 149, that is not too encouraging. There is a small gap for it to go back to where it was 2 years ago, and how likely it's going to happen, today, tomorrow. It might not, or in a short time, how likely it's going to, unless there is something really big going on. And that's why you want to dig a little bit further to see if this stock worth the time, what kind of business they do. We can go to profile and see what is exactly their business based on or consist of. So let's see right here. Let's read a little bit about it. So you go to profile and you read about the stock. It's a medical technology company. Okay. Sale of isotope-based medical products and devices. Okay, so you just read about it. You see if it is the company focuses on the treatment of cancer and other malignant diseases. Its core product. So they have this product, cesium-131, and then the company was founded. Sometimes it's important to know when the company is founded. 1983. That tells you the company that's been in business for such a long time, and that's important because when they've been in business for a long time, that means they've been through a lot and they still standing on their feet. They did not run out of business, though not necessarily that they've been incorporated since 1983, but they were founded in 1983. Okay, but that is very important. So so we know it's a medical device company. So they create or they produce devices that has to do with cancers, tumor, and stuff like that. So let's see what they've been doing. This is a financial statement right here. Income statement and balance sheet is the ones that we want to look at. Income statement, balance sheet. Okay. So historically on the income statement, they've been on revenues about 4 million and change, almost 5 million, and the 17 the same, 18 went up almost 6 million, 19 7 million. So there in 2020 9 million, almost 10 million. So their revenues is moving up, it's growing, and that is a very good indication. So that means they're bringing more value for their shareholders. But let's see if not necessarily because the growing revenues is a good sign. But let's see about their income, their net income, and how much how much loss they have, or maybe how much profits they have. And we're gonna look also in at their balance sheet and see what kind of, how strong, how weak they are as far as strength, financial strength, and so on. Okay, so their revenues is a good sign. So we want to look at the quarterly as well, not just the annually. So we click on the quarterly right here. So we knew annually they were from 5 years ago. They started at 4 million and change, and they went up and reached 10 million almost in 2020. So if we look at the quarterly, we see that the last two quarters of 2019, they were revenues 2 million and change, 2 million and change, and then it went up in March 2020 in the first quarter, and then went down a little bit, then down a little bit. And it seems that the last quarter, because they reached almost 9 million, so the last quarter probably is about a little less than what was reported in September. Okay, so we're gonna see. So the revenues is about quarterly since 2019 to 2020, it's about 2 million and change. Not a huge difference, but they are a lot better than the previous years. So let's look at the income statement. I'm sorry, about the net income. So net income, you'll see it highlighted right in the middle of the page of that statement. So we'll see that the last quarter of 2019, they were, okay, this is the income statement, net income. So net income is of course, it's after tax. Okay, that is their net income, meaning after tax. So whatever left, that's a net profit. So they were minus 800,000 the last two quarters, almost minus 900,000 the last quarter of 2019. And then they dropped. That's a good sign, to 5, then to 1,000, then 71,000. So that's really a good thing, because that means they are being cost efficient, and they're doing a great job as far as management their production, as far as management their expenses, their administration expenses, and their cost of goods sold. So that is a very good sign. So they are almost close to be even, and that is a great thing. It shows you that the company really has some kind of good management. They're working on improving their income statement so they can go back to profitability or in the near future. So that is a good sign, because they're trending up almost. Balance sheet, let's click on the balance sheet. Let's see what else we can find about it. So on the balance, so on the income statement, you only need to look at the revenues and the net income. This is really the most important two things in the income statement. In the future, you might, or in some cases, you might want to look at some more stuff like cost of goods sold or administration expenses, because that gives you an idea about the habits that is going on with the company. But so far, that could be enough to be able to tell, if so far the company has a sense of what they're doing or not. So let's look at the balance sheet. So on the balance sheet, you look at the first one, which is a cash and short-term investment, just to see how much of money in hand they have. So basically, we want to look at the current assets, which tells you how much in total assets they have that they can turn into cash in a very short time. But it's very good to look at the cash. The first one is the cash and short-term investments, because that's the fastest amount in cash they have in hand. So they got, historically, they've been at 12 million, 8 million, 3 million, they dropped. 2019, 5 million they had. 2020, 2 million have. So their cash and investment was dropping. Let's look quarterly what is happening with them. So they've been last two quarters in 2019, 4 and 3 million. And then they are in the twos in the 2020. In September, reported almost 2 million, 1.94. Okay, let's look at their current assets, total current assets. So last two quarters, 2019, 6 million and change, 5 million and change, and then 5 and change, 4. So the last amount they have, so right now on the last financial statement reported, on the last quarter reported, 4.75 million they have in current assets. That is low, but it's not low compared to how much loss they have, is compared to what we're gonna see right now, and that is coming. Their total assets is 8 million, so you have 4 and change in current assets, and probably around 4 or 3 and change in total fixed assets. The fixed assets, it takes time to turn into cash. So the focus really is on the current assets, which is 4 million and change, as we saw right here. Okay. So that is the current assets right here. 4 million, almost 5 million, 4.75. Let's look at the total, or the current liability. Current liability, the last quarter is 1.52 million. So they do have enough cash to cover their short-term debt. So it's right here, 1.52 million, and that is their total current liability. 52 million, that's really they have enough money to cover that. Let's look at the total liability. It's 2.93 million. It's still below their total assets, and it is below their current assets. So they're not getting enough though investments so far. They've been trending down. The trend down is not a good thing if you look at the short and the cash and short-term investments, but they're still able to cover their short-term debts, and we saw that they have a lot of their revenues though, despite the trend down of their cash and short-term investments, they do have increase in their revenues. That's a good thing, and they have a decrease in their net income loss. Okay, so they are not on a bad position. They're not that strong as far as their cash or their total asset is not growing too much, because, and that is where we're kind of seeing how much or how likely this company to build more value of the shareholder, because their total assets is kind of steady and actually trend a little bit down. And historically, if we look at the years, to just see not the quarterly, the years, the annual, look at their total assets. So this is total asset. It's been 18, 12, 7, 9, 8 million. So they dropped to 8 million 5 years ago. They started at 18, 12, 7, 9, 8. That's not good. So they're having a their net income is their revenues increased, but they weren't able to build more of shareholder value. So it's a good thing that they have increase in revenues. They have a drop in their net income loss, but we want to see more investment coming in. We want to see more of a total, or like more value of their assets. Their assets are growing, and going to a new number, to a new stage, so we can kind of find a trend that they are going to be growing in the near future, and their share value is going to go up. So they're not bad as far as financial standing, but they're not an exciting opportunity. So their total equity is about 65%. Right here we see it 65%, because they don't have a lot of debt. It's not a company that's going to run out of business tomorrow. So far they're good. They might be growing in the future, but they're going to take time. It's on a slow pace. It's not something we call an exciting opportunity. When they were at the 35 cents, yes, they probably, or 50 cents or 35 cents, probably they were an exciting opportunity. But you can look at the graph also, and you see like within 6 months, they were steady. They didn't move up. They're not a volatile stock. So really, you can put it on your watch list to just keep your eye on it, but it's not recommended to put money in it, because it might be there for a long time, or it might actually lose some value because they might fall back to $1 or below $1 and so on. So that's what we want to say for today. We're going to keep investigating and do other videos to move to a new subject. I just wanted to go over again to show more about how we investigate. What I suggest is that you create a watch list, whether on an Excel sheet or on your website that you have your account with, and then the stocks that you pick from Finviz.com, you put it on your watch list after you read it, and you show some interest in it, so you can keep your eye on it on that watch list. And this way you'll be able, whenever you want to make a decision, you have enough XP or enough information about these stocks, and you know how they've been behaving, and then your decision becomes an informative decision, and you can make quick gains on any stock that you want to buy from that watch list. Okay, so subscribe again. If you have any questions or comments, just leave it on the bottom of the video, and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions or your comments.